Hi everyone, my name is Anne with Art on the Creek. We are here in my home studio in Parker, Colorado, and I have a fun review for us today. Derwent has come out with watercolors, not Inktense, not the Inktense pan set, but watercolor. So let's take a look at these, and let's also take a look at some unique watercolor paper that comes in some really fun shapes. So let's have some fun today, shall we? Well, hello everyone. I am in a really good mood today and I hope you are too. These are such fun products and they've been sitting on my shelf awaiting my finishing of organizing my studio, and I got that done. I'm so excited. So let's crack these open. First, we've got the Hahnemuhle bookmarks. Hahnemuhle paper is one of my favorites. It's 100% cotton. This version of it is. They have a lot of other papers that are also excellent, but this one, both of these are 100% cotton. This little pad here, it's just got adhesive along the top, and it measures about 2 inches by 8 inches. Now the round ones, I think they're about a 5-inch circle. I don't know how many come in here, but this tin, oh my gosh, you guys, it's the cutest thing in the world, and you can reuse it. So not only is it adorable, but it's practical. Wouldn't it be fun to turn this into a palette? And the lid is really secure. So I'm just so pleased as punch to have both of these things, and I can't wait to open them up. This one was so intriguing to me. I couldn't believe it when I saw that Derwent had come out with actual watercolors. Now we all know and love their Inktense pencils and blocks, and their pan sets, their graphite, the water-soluble graphite, the graphitin pencils. These are something different. Now the color palette, some of these names are kind of familiar, so I kind of think that they might be a one-to-one correspondence with the Inktense, but I'm not entirely sure. It says that they're really light fast, and I'm not surprised because Derwent is a wonderful company. Nobody paid me for this review, by the way. I am just doing all of this with my own money. I just found these new things. I wanted to share them with you guys. Let's see what it says here. The Derwent watercolor paints have been expertly formulated with fine art quality ingredients and light fast pigments to deliver an ultra smooth translucent wash. Each color is highly pigmented and behaves consistently for ease of use, preventing unwanted and uneven results. So let's open it up. And sorry, I had to ride the struggle bus reading that. I'm in very dim lighting where I'm doing this voiceover right now, and gosh, my eyes are getting old. Oh, does that happen to you? Let me know in the comments. I wear reading glasses. You know, it's kind of weird because I have worn readers since I was in my mid-30s because I've always done a lot of fine detail work, and I started needing them then. But now that I'm approaching my 60th birthday, I don't need them all the time, which is really weird. I don't always use them when I create art anymore if I'm in good lighting, so that's kind of fun. So anyway, side subject, leave me a note in the comments. How are your eyes doing? I love the cases for the Derwent palettes, you guys. They're so nice. The plastic is just nice to hold, and it's very firm. It's a good quality plastic. I feel like, you know, of course, if you drop it, it'll probably break, but it's semi-flexible, and I really like that. Everything is always wrapped with a belly band to keep everything secure, and side note on that later. Here is how they're packaged. Each of the pans go individually inside that little frame of 6. And as you can see, they're coming out. Don't ever worry if that happens. All you have to do is put a little drop of water in there and then put the paint back in there and it will stick. There's some shrinkage that's normal when you purchase watercolor that's already been extruded into the pan. Sometimes that happens to hand-poured watercolor pans also. These are all half pans. There's 24 of them. You can mix and match, rearrange these. You could pull out, let's say you wanted to have one set of these, 6 of these with 6 of the graphitint, with 6 of the Derwent Inktense, and 6 of something else. You can do whatever you like. These are all interchangeable. And the thing that I'm really, really excited about is the colors. They're just so vibrant, and all of these color names really correspond with colors that I'm familiar with Derwent. So let me just run through them real quick. Lemon cadmium, deep cadmium, mango, orange, poppy red, madder carmine, and then on the second row we've got magenta, dark violet, amethyst, ultramarine, spectrum blue, kingfisher blue, and then second to the last row we've got jade green, bottle green, emerald green, grass green, olive green, raw sienna, and then finally copper beech, terracotta, chocolate, Payne's gray, ivory black, and Chinese white. And there's a little scissor icon down by that table. So you can easily cut that out of the back of the box and then just keep it in your palette for reference, because it is kind of hard to tell visually what's going on in these palettes sometimes. All right, let's quickly talk about this brush. This little thing, this little cap, is my huge pet peeve about Derwent water brushes that come with these palettes, and I will lose this. This is my nature. This is who I am. I know who I am. I'm going to lose it. So it's another little doohickey for me to keep track of, and I've been very, very frustrated by that. Derwent brushes turn quote unquote backwards to me, but you guys, it fits. It fits in the palette. Oh my goodness. This is like manna from heaven. Look at that. It fits. So the whole reason they have that cap there is so that you can take the brush apart, cap it up, save that minuscule amount of water. I don't know why you'd need to save that, but anyway, save it in there and put your brush in there in two pieces. But this way you don't have to. Oh my gosh, you guys. I forgive you, Derwent. You have listened, I hope, to what I've said in my videos. I cannot believe that you finally made a water brush that I like. Now, I'm not talking about the separately purchased water brushes from Derwent, the ones that come with the palettes. I'm just filling it up with water here off camera. And you can either dunk it into a vessel of water, or the opening, look here, when I get this dry, it's so big. You can see, you can just run that under the tap. And it's really easy to fill. So see, we got to turn it backwards. That's my other little thing. I don't know why, but there you go. Okay, so lefty tighty, very, very, something's foreign to me. And I like the clip. They've always had that clip, but the caps never post. The cap posts. Oh my gosh. Derwent. Oh, you've made me so happy. I cannot believe. Oh my gosh, I'm beyond excited. How can I get so excited over things that are so simple? Because you know what? It's the simple things in life that matter. And to me, being able to post the cap, being able to put the brush away in all one piece and not worry about me keeping track of that little tiny cap, I'm hooked. I'm in. I don't even care if these paints are good or not. I love the brush. So let's go ahead and put a drop of water on each one, and then we'll get to swatching them out. I don't know how you guys feel about sped up video, but sometimes I like watching it really fast in replay because, gosh, would it be cool if you could really do things that quickly? Let's open these up. They just have a nice little shrink wrap on them, and they open really easily. So pulling off the plastic, there we go. And we're just going to unwrap this and see what it's like on the inside. Don't you love opening a new pack of watercolor paper? It's like one of life's little gifts that just keeps on giving. And the paper that we're going to test these on for swatching is this notebook here. I purchased this from Lightwish. Let me expand a little bit so you guys can see. On Amazon, it's by Lightwish, I should say. Little binder. It's got some chipboard in it covered with vegan leather, which used to be called polyurethane. I don't know what it is now, but you know, pleather. And it's got pockets in there. You could stick some brushes in those little pockets and maybe some ephemera in the big pocket. And I like it. It's 100% cotton paper. I've used it for a couple of other videos, and I've doodled a Winnie the Pooh there with some ink and made him look like he was in a mud bucket instead of honey. But that's okay. You know, you can get these 6-hole punches anywhere, so you can really refill this with your own watercolor. And it's got the little holder for the pencil. The only thing that I might adapt this with is a way to close it, but you know, it's not that essential. It's just really not. The pages don't have too much warping. I really enjoy this little book, and like I said, those 6-hole punches, I've seen a lot of those. It's pretty standard for planners in America to have that configuration of punching hole punches. So you can just get those. I think I've seen them at places like Office Depot or other kind of Office Max, things like that. The back of these pages is a little bit smoother, but it's a cold press texture, so you're going to be getting some good texture on both sides. It's not super rough. It's probably like a fine grain cold press, and I would definitely equate it to the Paul Rubens 100% cotton paper if you've ever used that one. And of course, I'm using a ruler, but I'm not making straight lines, so I don't know what the heck is going on with my brain here today when I'm doing this, but you know what? We're going to get the right number of boxes on there, and that's all that matters. So we'll put this final line down here. I'm just making a grid of 24 and really excited to swatch these out. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll swatch in the entire box, and then I'll write the name of the color afterwards. So let's go ahead and use this water brush that I'm in love with. Let's test it, and let's see what this looks like. So these paints, to me visually right now, they look an awful lot like the Inktense paint pans. So let's see if they are any different to use. Ooh, I like the vibrancy of the color. I like the way they go down. Let's go on to the next one. That first one is the lemon cadmium, and now we have the deep cadmium. That one I needed to dip a little bit more, but that's okay. I really like this mango. This is always one of my favorite Derwent colors. Look at that. And look how smoothly they spread. I think that they're pretty accurate in their description. Color range wise, I really like what they have to offer. That poppy red up there, the second one to the last on the top row, that's another one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorite colors here in this Derwent line. And the amethyst, the third one on the second row, love that. I love that bottle green, the second one on the next row. The olive green, the second to the last one on that third row there, that one took a little bit more wetting than the other. And then we'll just test this Chinese white here just to see how opaque it is, and of course it's not. But that is totally fine. It's exactly what I expected. A Chinese white is semi-opaque or semi-transparent at best, and it's just not meant to be an opaque white. I am writing the color names on top of here with my fountain pen, which is water-soluble ink, but these are bone-dry swatches. I'm noticing something a little bit weird. Having to pick a different color to write on these darker colors here, but when I'm writing on top of here, on top of the paint with my fountain pen, the ink is bleeding a little bit, and I will show you here. I'll give you a close-up because it's kind of strange. This is really something that I've never seen happen before, and it's kind of subtle. You can really see it on the raw sienna though. Can you see where what I wrote, my handwriting, is thicker and kind of seepy on top of the paint, but it's very crisp and clear where the ink was just on the paper. You can see it on the olive green, the grass green, the Chinese white. You can really see here, I'll try and point it out to you with this brush tip. Can you see how the ink is bleeding when it writes on top of the paint? On all of these, you can really see that. And especially down on that emerald green, the amethyst, nice and crisp and clear just on the paper. But look at that orange and poppy red. It just seeps as soon as that ink gets on top of the paper. So, okay, this might be the paper, but that's good to know, because if you are one to do ink and wash with a fountain pen, this particular paint, if it is the paint, may not be your best choice. I mean, that's just kind of strange, and I don't really understand why that's happening. I've never seen that phenomenon before. Every other time that I have used my fountain pen on any brand of watercolor, whether it's professional or student grade, it doesn't do that seeping thing. So I can't say that I have for certain used fountain pen on any kind of light wish paper before. So we'll try it on other paper and we'll see how it works. But that's something definitely to be aware of. What I wanted to tell you initially about these pans that are in here is that you can purchase these individually. Now, I have not yet seen the watercolor paint pans for sale individually, but I know the others are, and I would assume that Derwent would follow suit and sell these individually as well because of the packaging. So once they're available in your area, if you want to just try a couple, you could buy just the individual pans. So I'm trying to mix a dark here, and I think I went in with the Spectrum Blue and that Copper Beach, which is kind of like a burnt umber. Look at how much that is staining the palette. You can really see that blue under there, and I don't think that's going to lift off. Not a problem. I don't mind if my palette is stained. Typically, an ultramarine blue is non-staining, so that was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect it to act like a phthalo and to stain the palette. But that's a pretty good dark. I think that's okay. That's a good mix. Let's try and mix something else here. Let's try and mix a skin tone. I'll go into that lemon cadmium. And now let's try the madder carmine. We'll get a nice peach tone going. I think I got that a little bit too red. Let's add a little bit more yellow into it. There we go. And let's go in with a blue again. I'll use that Spectrum Blue because typically that's kind of a cyan blue or a color wheel blue. And again, we've got the staining over there with that carmine. That's really incredible. Lots of good tones here. I was able to mix a lot of different skin tones that worked out really well. I think if you continue to play with it, you know, get some oranges in there, a turquoise, a purple, things like that. You could really get a lot of little subtle nuances in your skin tones. So I think this set would work well for just about anything you want to paint. And I love how portable it is. They're professional paints. I have, you know, Derwent says that they're light fast. I believe them. Derwent's got a wonderful reputation, but I don't see the light fast ratings here on the box. If you wanted to know those absolutely for sure, of course, contact Derwent, and I'm sure they'd be able to give you that information. But I think that they follow the same kind of rating probably as their ink test and ink tense, and that's just a guess. Don't quote me on that. But if Derwent says something is light fast, I believe them. Let's mix a green. Let's see what we can come up with here on a green. And I'm still kind of can't get over how much these stain. And again, I don't care that my palette is stained, but that's important in watercolor because you want to know what colors you'll be able to lift or not. And that's one of the things that they say that this set can do is lift colors. When you're working with ink tints, they say that it's permanent. Well, it's not permanent like, I don't know, like something that's pigment ink, like really permanent, but it's close, and you can leave something there to dry and then not lift it completely afterwards. And you can use the ink tints on fabric. You do have to do some kind of a treatment of the fabric first, but these apparently no, that wouldn't work with, and of course you wouldn't do that with watercolor. But let's just try mixing this on the paper and let's see how it works. And I am trying to get just kind of a color wheel going here with the spectrum blue, the lemon cadmium, and that madder carmine. And I think the mixes that we're going to get out of here are going to be really nice. I like mixing pigments on paper. I like how this looks. I like how it works in practice when you're painting. So that's why I like to do a color wheel mix like this when I'm testing, because I want to see how these are going to perform on paper. I like the bright clear mixes that are resulting. The purple with these two particular colors is not muddy. Sometimes if you mix a warm red and a warm blue, you get kind of a grayish purple. So if you've had trouble mixing really vibrant purples, might want to just make a note of that. Try using a cool tone, either for your blue or your red or both. Now let's try mixing a dark using all three right here on the paper. And of course we can mix it, but look, you can see the ring. Let me wipe some of this off. You can see the ring of the yellow initially there in the beginning, the first thing I put down. You can see that ring of yellow. You can see the ring of red. And you can see where I mixed the blue on the outside. So it's really a staining pigment. A lot of these are staining. I really like how they perform with water droplets. You can see those cauliflower blooms happening, and that's no problem at all. Of course, if you put salt on it, they'll behave just like regular watercolors. So no problems whatsoever with how they function like watercolors, other than that note that they do stain. Now that may not be true of the entire palette, but some of the colors that I used and that I use often did stain. So keep that in mind. You get a decent number of sheets in here, and I will put text on the bottom to let you know exactly how many. There is a protective sheet on the top, and then these just tear out just like a little notepad. Good adhesive on the Hahnemuhle. They really do a quality adhesive here, so you kind of have to get it going. But once you do get it started, it's really easy. And don't let my struggle be your judge. I've got very weak hands from arthritis, so what looks challenging for me is probably very easy for you. So this is cold press, 100% cotton, really good paper, and I'm excited to use it. I really love how portable that is too. You could just put that in your bag, take it with you, and do quite a few little bookmarks when you're out on a trip or something. Just trying to use up some old washi tape here because I want to give this bookmark a white border. I am using the cast off of a back of a watercolor block here. I hang on to these because it's really good thick chipboard, and you can see I've used it several times. So don't throw those things away, your backs of notebooks or backs of watercolor blocks. Hang on to them because they make really nice pads for you to work on, a really nice hard surface. Our photo reference today is from Unsplash, and I really love all of these tulips here, and I thought they would make kind of a nice presentation for a bookmark. I'm not thinking of painting the entire thing because it's not the right shape. So I want to show you a real quick and easy way to find something that you like that's in a weird shape or not the shape you want it, and transpose it so that you can put it in the shape you want. You simply make a template. It's so easy, you guys. All I did was trace this on the back of a cracker box that I had cut open, and now I have a viewfinder. I printed it out in black and white so that I can really lay it on here because, of course, everything electronic now is a touch screen. But let's see, where do I want to put this? I kind of like, you know, I think I kind of like it at an angle. I like the way those 3 tulips are because the rest of it, I'm not sure. No, I really think I like it at an angle. So what I'm going to do is leave my viewfinder on here and just tape it down with a little bit of washi tape so that it doesn't move. So let me just tack this down here and then we can get to drawing. The remainder of this is going to be sped up a little bit, so I just want to give you a heads up there. If you would like a real-time full-length tutorial of either this or the next little painting that we're going to do, let me know in the comments. This particular review is one that was given early access to all of my channel members. Once a month, that's one of the benefits that my channel members get, is early access to my reviews. And I try to do reviews pretty often, and when I do, sometimes they are given to me by companies so that I can review their product, and oftentimes when that happens, of course, as you guys have seen, there will be a coupon attached to that. So if you are one of my channel members, you would get in on that sale early prior to the rest of the viewing public. So if that's something that appeals to you, then check out that link below this video in the description about becoming a channel member. One of the other things that you would get as a channel member is Happy Mail from me, and I'm really excited to be able to share this new benefit. It's I just sent out my most recent Happy Mail. In fact, it was a really cute postcard of a bunny that I drew in charcoal. So everything that I send will either be usable, frameable art, or it might be an actual art supply. So if that's something that you would like to be part of as a channel member, in addition to a lot of other benefits, let me know. If you have any questions, all the description, everything, your link to sign up is just in that description below. As far as working with these paints, I moved from the water brush to these to a more detailed brush here, and I love them. They act exactly like watercolors, with the exception of maybe it's just the colors themselves, and because I know what Derwent colors look and feel like to use. These felt a little bit more like Inktense to paint with than they did regular watercolors. They're very vibrant. I really love that about it. But there's a certain amount of flatness that goes with these, and I don't mean that as a negative. I mean it as a property of the paints. They're not as luminous as typical professional watercolors, I should say conventional. I feel like this casts a very subtle matte view on these watercolors. Not opaque, but just soft. And I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but it really was prominent to me when I was painting with them. I enjoyed it. I thought that was a neat feature. Not everyone may experience that when they paint. It could just be with this paper. I really don't know. I've only tried these on the Lightwish paper and the Hahnemuhle paper, and I have just loved the experience in both instances. Now that I've got this back on real time, I just want to give a friendly reminder that when you're removing washi tape, I always like to put that heat tool on it, some kind of a heat source, because no matter how strong your paper is or how careful you are, it is so easy to tear watercolor paper, even with washi tape, even with a really low tack tape. But look at how vibrant this is. Look at how sweetly these little tulips came out. I love them. And the same thing did happen with that fountain pen. It did bleed a little bit on here because the entire thing was covered with watercolor, and I went over it with the fountain pen ink, and it really did bleed a little bit. However, I'm in love with this set. I really think it's fun. I like it a lot. I'm ready to do another one. Let's have some fun with this round watercolor, this watercolor paper. This is really going to be a kick, you guys. So again, we're dealing with the 140 pound, 300 GSM, 100% cotton Hahnemuhle watercolor paper. If you have never tried Hahnemuhle paper, I highly recommend it. I think it's just one of the best in the market, and I'm trying to figure out how many sheets are included in here, and it just doesn't say. If you guys are seeing it, let me know in the comments, but I'll try and look back and put some text up on the bottom, because I felt like for the unique shape of both of these things and for how many sheets you get, I felt like it was kind of a good deal. So yeah, I really appreciate both packaging, and both the packaging with that tin and with that little leaflet for the watercolor bookmark. It's they're both really great. This one, let's see, it measures 5 inches. Yep, so that's going to be good. I think what we should do this time is something really fun and whimsical. Lately, my mind has been drawn back to my childhood, to two authors that I dearly loved, A. Milne and Beatrix Potter. I am in love with both of their illustrations, and of course Beatrix Potter was a fabulous watercolorist. I love the ink work in A. Milne, Winnie the Pooh books. This one, look at these characters. They're just so, so sweet. So let's find a good picture of Peter. This is just from the compilation of the works of Beatrix Potter. So I want to give her complete and full credit. I just love trying to paint and draw like my favorite artists, and you know, these childhood book illustrators, they certainly were my first introduction to art. Oh my gosh, Peter. How could you not love that? I mean, that's just the sweetest thing in the world. At any rate, they were my first introduction to art, and between them and Disney, I really fell in love with just the act of drawing and really enjoying illustration in general. So let's get a good picture of Peter here and let's get to work. Again, same thing. This one will be sped up as well because it's not meant to be a tutorial. But I will suggest, absolutely, if you guys have a favorite author out there or any kind of illustrator, or if you go to a museum, take some time and try to create art in that style. There's a reason that you like it. I think this is particularly wonderful in trying to find your own style as an artist. I love any kind of humanized animals, any kind of characterization of people. I'm really drawn to Marvel comic art. I'm drawn to Disney. I'm drawn to these two that I mentioned. I also like Robert McCloskey, Make Way for Ducklings. There's an awful lot of beautiful children's art out there, and you know, there's an award given for it, and that's the Caldecott Medal. And often on children's books you'll see that picture of the Caldecott Medal on the book if it's been awarded that, and you will know that those pictures in that book are just beautiful illustrations. And honestly, I think that that augments the story. It's like getting two books in one. If you have a children's book that is beautifully illustrated, then what you have is you have two stories to share with your child. You can share the printed word as well as the pictures. So I just think art opens up a whole new world of wonder. And anything that we can do for children to introduce them to art, I think is just the greatest gift of all. I mean, this is just truly my passion, and it's why I teach, actually. So yeah, if you can find anything that you really that you would like to, excuse me, imitate in your art or learn from. How does John Singer Sargent make those shadows? How, in this case, how did Beatrix Potter give that rabbit shape? So if you do things like this and really focus on how other artists do things, not to copy them, but to emulate them, to take pieces of what you love about their art and incorporate it into your own. That's what will make you a better artist. And, you know, don't walk away from those opportunities. If you do spend time to allow yourself to learn from other artists, either on YouTube or artists that you admire throughout history, it will help you to find your own style. It really will, because you'll really end up discovering that, gosh, I like a little piece of that and a little piece of this. It's almost like you're making your own recipe, and you just take from your favorites to make something that really works for you. And that's one of the greatest joys in creating art. And I wish that for all of you. So working with these paints, oh my goodness, this particular illustration was heaven. I had so much fun doing this. I felt like the colors were wonderful. I really liked being able to do all of the techniques with these, the wet on wet, the wet into damp, the wet on dry, all of it. I just felt like it was so easy. And in fact, I was having so much fun that I decided that I would not paint Mr. McGregor and Benjamin Bunny, his cousin, who is with him in this scene. They are stealing onions from Mr. McGregor's garden. I wanted Peter to just be having an onion picnic, because I think that's really what Peter wanted to do in the first place. You know, when our boys were young, they were born in the 80s, and there was a VHS that I got, something about Beatrix Potter, and, you know, it may have been the cartoons, but in the beginning it explained a live action of what Beatrix Potter did. These were actually letters that she had written to a child in her family, I think. And if you know the real story to this, then let me know in the comments, because my memory is foggy, admittedly. But I remember her walking through the rain. She has to pick up because it starts to rain when she's in the middle of writing a letter and telling a story about Peter Rabbit. And then it starts to rain and she has to quickly pack up her watercolors and run with her wooden case back through the mud and in her heels and her skirt And of course they were more practical heels, but you know how women dressed in that era. And it was just so magical to me to imagine. Wouldn't that be great to just send pictures like this to a child? And I have done things like that for my grandchildren. So I really have tried to emulate Beatrix Potter in my life, and it's made me very happy. And I certainly hope it's made my grandkids happy. I think it has. Of course, I end up drawing a lot of cool things like Tyrannosaurus Rex and Darth Vader, things that I normally wouldn't draw. And I've also drawn Pikachu. So little things like that, you know, you can really expand your envelope as an artist just by opening your world up to your childlike vision, whether you have a real child in your home or just a child that's still inside of you. These paints really work well, you guys. I love the paper. I think that these little medallion, these little circular watercolor papers are so fun to work with. It just gives you a great focal point. And you can also make a little template for that circle too, and kind of slide it around your paper to see what parts you want to include in your circle in case you have a hard time visualizing. But I think these paints are a lot of fun. I'm a huge fan. Derwent, thank you. Thank you so much for improving the water brush. That's huge for me. I can't tell you how wonderful that is, because honestly, they used to include a sponge in with these. A lot of the other palettes have a sponge. I just don't use the sponge, but look, it fits. I can close it up and it fits right in there. And even though that makes me so happy, I want to test one more thing real quick. I've got 4 swatches down here. We're going to see how well these lift. I have the Derwent watercolor, Roman Schmal, which is a professional watercolor, and the Derwent Inktense paint pan, and a Derwent Inktense pencil. So now I've got a wet brush, and let's just wipe this across. I'm going to do 8 swipes on each square. Here it is on the Derwent watercolor, and you can see it kind of stained, and I tried to pick a pigment that would not be staining, so I know that none of these are really a phthalo blue. This Roman Schmal is ultramarine blue, and that is not staining. And see, we got really good lifting on that. Not as good as on the Derwent watercolor, but really good lifting on the professional watercolor, the Roman Schmal. So on the Inktense, you can see it really didn't lift well at all, and that particular one I think is closer to an indigo. That's the paint pan. And then over here in the Inktense pencil, I'm sorry I don't remember the color, but visually it was kind of a close match. And you can see with the Roman Schmal, let's look at that. Nope, sorry, we're going to look at the Derwent watercolor first. You can lift, but not completely. It's about comparable with the Inktense pencil. Really, really close. The Inktense paint pans, I know it's a different color, but it also doesn't lift very well. But the Roman Schmal watercolor really lifts a lot better. So if you do a lot of techniques with lifting, I would recommend testing these before you really get into it, because you can see the pigment that got swiped out of the box on all of these. You can see that on the lower left there, on the Roman Schmal, that's the palest that came out. The rest of them all swiped a good amount of pigment off to the right outside the box, and that pigment kind of hung out there on the paper. So keep in mind that if you're going to use a lot of lifting techniques, maybe a conventional watercolor will get you more intense results, more impactful results. These do lift, but it's about comparable with the Inktense. So other than that, honestly, I think this set's a lot of fun. I'm going to play with it a whole lot more because I didn't really lift a lot of the colors. I think that no matter what paper you use it on is really great. That water brush is a huge improvement. These pans, I'm going to need to definitely adhere the paint into the pans, because when I did open the set later, many of them had spilled out. So I would also recommend definitely cutting that little map out of the back of the packaging so that you do know where those paints go if you don't make your own swatch chart that fits inside. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you really enjoyed this review, and I hope that you spend some time, I hope I've encouraged you to spend some time wandering down your childhood memories and finding some illustrators or artists that you really love, and just have fun. Just try and paint that picture of Winnie the Pooh, or Ferdinand, or Harold and the Purple Crayon, or Wolverine. Whoever it is that was fun for you in your childhood, or who you've just discovered now and you really like. Have a lot of fun, dig deep, be creative, and just make your heart happy. I hope everyone has a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye now.